So the Sony Xperia 1 has a problem. That is, there are so many reviews on YouTube just hating on this device. And I don't feel it's justified. So let's address this negativity, shall we?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
So before we begin on the Sony Xperia 1 in-depth review, let me ask you guys a question. What device are you watching this video on right now, and how long have you had it? And the reason I'm asking this is because some of the most positive feedback around Xperia devices is their longevity, how well they stand up to the test of time. So I want to know what you're using and how long you've had it and how's it performing now. Leave that in the comments below. So I've decided to approach this review a bit different from my previous reviews. So what I actually did was I watched all of the Xperia 1 videos out there from a lot of the big YouTubers and some of the small ones. I read all of the comments and then I made a load of notes about the Xperia 1, what you guys are talking about, what people are saying about it. And I'm going to put all of that and the answers to the negative points that a lot of people are trashing the Sony Xperia 1 about. And I would really appreciate a thumbs up for that. But anyway, let's address the most negative point that a lot of people keep bringing up: the lack of a headphone jack. So I don't know if you guys saw my XZ3 review last year, and that was one of the things I personally complained about back then. And again, it still stands true here on the Xperia 1. And the reality is, in the mobile phone industry, the headphone jack is soon to be extinct. And people like us who still want headphone jacks, we're kind of paddling up the river, but the river's going the other way, and eventually we're all going off that cliff. So I guess we're just going to have to face the facts that the headphone jack is probably never going to come back. But there are some really good features here on the Xperia 1 which actually give it an advantage over a lot of phones out there on the market. First off, Sony make probably the best wireless noise cancelling headphones on the market right now, and that's the WH-1000X-M3. And mark my words, the M4 are soon to be announced, and maybe even by the time you watch this video, they will already be announced at the IFA in Berlin. And the Sony 1000XM3s actually support LDAC, which supports 24-bit audio at 96 kHz with a speed of 990 kilobytes per second, which is really market leading right now. And that's Sony's own thing, the LDAC. I know you can get it on other devices now, but Sony actually started using this quite a while ago, and they have the most experience in it as well. And they've also just released the new WF-1000X-M3 earbuds, which I'm hearing loads of really good stuff about. It has a lot of the same technology as the over-ear headphones, which is still to this date my favorite pair of headphones. And as well as that, let's not forget the DSEE-HX upscaler, which will take regular MP3 files and upscale the quality. So that's going to help with your audio quality over Bluetooth as well. And there's something else which is on the way, and it's from Qualcomm, and it's a new codec which is really going to improve audio quality when streaming over Bluetooth. And it's called aptX Adaptive, and it's going to roll out to devices supporting Android 9. And I actually made a video about that, explaining that in a bit more depth. If you want to check that out, look for this thumbnail here on YouTube, and that'll explain most of it, and I'll link it down below this video as well. But just know this, it's way more robust. It supports high-res audio streaming. You're going to suffer way less latency problems and audio dropouts and all this kind of stuff. So it's really cool. You should definitely look into that. Okay, the second most negative comment that I hear a lot of YouTubers mentioning in their reviews is the battery life. So on paper, it doesn't look amazing, 3,300 milliamp hours.
Why would you do that?
But we have to put it into perspective. So, I'm sure you're aware of this phone, the iPhone XS Max. It's a huge phone, and it's hugely popular too, and I don't hear any complaints from iPhone users about battery life that often. And that phone has less than 3,200 milliamp hours of battery. So this phone has more. So the only time I ran into any issues with the battery over the course of 2 months of using this phone was actually when I was filming stuff continuously using the Cinema Pro or the actual camera app. If you're filming 4K, you are going to notice your battery life draining pretty quickly. So just keep that in mind. But generally speaking, with just day-to-day stuff, watching YouTube videos, browsing the web, listening to music, this kind of stuff, you're going to get to the end of pretty much every day without having to worry about the battery. So think twice before you criticize the battery on this device. So let's talk about Sony's approach to charging the battery on the Xperia 1 now. So in the box you get this 18-watt charger, which is pretty fast. You can actually get 50% battery within 30 minutes, which is fast enough for most people. And I wonder how the conversation went down in Sony headquarters. Maybe it was something like this. One guy was like, you know, all of these companies are doing super fast chargers. Do you know what we should do? Slow charging. And the other guy was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Wait a minute, what do you say? But hear me out here. The slow charging is actually a really good feature when it comes to longevity of your Sony device. And this brings me back to that question I asked you at the beginning. What phone are you using and how long have you been using it for? Because this battery care charging will actually stop your phone from charging to the maximum and actually charge it at a much slower rate, therefore giving you better battery life in the long run. And that's actually a really good feature, and I think this is a really great thing that Sony are doing, making their phones stand up to the test of time. And also when it comes to battery life, bear in mind the Sony Xperia 1 has a very clean Android operating system on here. There is no bloatware running in the background draining battery life. And as well as that, Sony have a few tweaks when it comes to adaptive brightness on the screen, which is actually going to save battery in the long run as well. So when it comes to battery life, I feel a lot of the criticism this phone's been getting is not 100% justified. Did you know that Sony's first ever product was a rice cooker? And that was over 70 years ago. And that's how long I've been on the waiting list for a Sony Xperia 1 device with Sony's PR company. And that takes me nicely on to the third most negative thing that I see people talking about when it comes to the Sony Xperia 1. And it is their marketing. There was a massive film just released, it done super well in the cinema, and it was called Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm sure you guys have seen it. That for me was the perfect opportunity for Sony to get the Sony Xperia 1 in front of loads of eyes. I watched that film and I was keeping an eye out for it because it was round about the same time as the launch of this phone here in Europe, and no sign of it. Opportunities like this are just completely wasted, and I don't understand why, because that film was actually a partnership between Sony and Disney, and it was the perfect opportunity which they didn't take. And as well as that, I see a lot of other smaller channels like my own not actually being able to get this from Sony. In the end, I had to get this from Vodafone, and I'm still on that 70-year waiting list, and I don't think Sony will actually ever send me one of these. I think stuff like this is not going to help their marketing at all. Now, I'm no marketing expert, but I do know Sony have the largest customer base when it comes to games consoles, and if they could just figure out a way to convert some of these PlayStation 4 fans into Xperia users, they would be able to take a massive chunk of the market. But they'd need to have some kind of interesting approach or some unique features which are exclusive to the Xperia in conjunction with the PlayStation 4. But I have to say the lack of Sony's marketing efforts is undefendable from my point of view. What do you guys think about it? Do you agree? Should Sony put more effort into their marketing instead of maybe making personal air conditioning units? Alright, now the fourth most negative comment that I hear about the Sony Xperia 1, and it's the lack of wireless charging. Now, I've had wireless charging phones in the past, and to be honest, I didn't use it that much. The reason being, there are four main things I really use my phone for, and that's taking and making phone calls and text messages, browsing the web and using social media, taking photos, or watching videos. Now, let me ask you a question. If this is resting on a charging mat because it's out of power, how many of those things can I comfortably do if it's on a charging mat? Whereas if you're using a charging cable, how many of those things can you still do? So in my opinion, wireless charging is not a big deal for me right now. And I don't think it should be a big deal for you either. Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
And honestly, is this where we are now? We're so lazy we can't even be bothered to do this. Alright, the fifth and final negative comment, and I promise we're going to get on to the awesome stuff right after this, but it revolves around the fingerprint sensor. Now I know some of you might know this, but some of you might not. Sony did this fingerprint sensor a while back on the Z5 and it doubled up as a power button. But now we have a separate power button below the fingerprint reader. And there is an actual reason for this, which I didn't know about before until I started reading the comments on some of the other videos. So you can thank Apple for this one, because they actually got a patent in the US which actually prevents Sony from putting a 2-in-1 power and fingerprint reader on the side of their device. It's a nice one, Apple. Now, I don't completely hate this fingerprint reader, although I will say it's a little bit unreliable at times. For example, if you have it in your pocket and it's getting ghost touches, when you take it out of your pocket, you'll then have to manually unlock it with your PIN number or your screen lock method, whatever that might be. But that doesn't happen all of the time, but it is annoying that it happens some of the time. So I can't fully defend the fingerprint reader on this phone. I actually do feel Sony should have gone for an in-screen fingerprint reader. I've been using the OnePlus 7 Pro and it's super fast, it never fails, it doesn't get ghost touches, I never have to worry about it. Maybe they can improve it with software in time, we will see, but I think the rear mounted fingerprint sensor last year was better, it was faster, it was more reliable. It was maybe placed slightly in an odd position, but I have to agree, I think it needs some improvement. All right, that's all the negative stuff out of the way. Let's move on to some of the awesome stuff that will justify the price tag of the Xperia 1.